And this is Jen Gray, and welcome to Be Genuine Podcast. It is my heart that by the end of this episode, you believe that your story matters and that your authenticity is your superpower. Hi, friends. I hope you are doing so well. I am really excited for today's episode. I don't have an interview. It's just you and me, and we're going to talk about what's going on in my world and what I'm working through, and hopefully it will be an encouragement to you. We're talking about mental toughness today. So I want you to kind of think through, like when I say mental toughness, what are the first things in your mind? And for me, it comes down to, I think of like David Goggins and Tim Grover and all of these like powerhouse, like in your face people. And then ultimately, I think of Andy Frisella, who wrote the book Mental Toughness and who is the originator of the program 75 Hard. And then I think just of my own life. And I think back to 2023 when it was the ultimate rebuild. Again, I had a rebuild season in 2019 and then again in 2023. And 2023 was different though. And a lot of it was because of me taking ownership of certain things and therefore knowing that no one else is to blame for where I am right now. And I'm going to get myself out of this. I'm going to figure out what that looks like. I'm going to take steps to move forward. And so I did so. But what I also knew that I needed was I needed the daily reminder that, Jen, you can do hard things. So what I did is I put this morning routine in place, and I'd already been, haphazardly, like I would do some challenges, and I had gone through a huge fitness journey in 2018. For the most part, it kept the weight off, but it hadn't really been intentional about, workouts as far as like really beyond just the, I'm going to get up and do a workout and whatever. So I knew that that was important, mostly even for mental health. I believe that a workout is way more way more mental than even physical. And I was like, okay, I need that element. So I'm going to create this hardcore morning routine so that I know that before 6 a.m. every day, that I have shown myself, Jen, you can do hard things. So take you back to 2023, March of 2023. I was waking up at 5 a.m. I was doing burpees, I was doing 100 squats, and I was doing push-ups. And I was listening to Wes Watson on a podcast because he is completely in your face. He's like, no excuses, get up, do the thing, stop making excuses. And I'm like, that's what I needed at that point. I needed someone to like push all of the thing away, push everything, and let's just get it done. And after I did that, I'd get in the shower and I would turn it to cold and I would get in there and I would take my shower. I took a cold shower every single day. So that by 6 a.m., I've proven, Jen, you can do hard things. Now we're going to continue to take one step forward throughout the day and rebuild your life in a way that you want to rebuild. And so for a lot of the beginning stages, it was just healing and it was going through like truths about myself and where I was and who I wanted to be and what I wanted to get rid of and the reconciliation in my life that needed to take place and all these different things. But the biggest thing was that me deciding that the only way I build a life that I'm proud of is if I take full ownership and I create and rebuild in a way that honors who God created me to be. And so here we are, fast forward 2025. And I never dreamed in 2023 that I would be where I am right now. And I cannot wait to say the same thing in 2027 as it's just even more aligned with who I was built and who I was created to be. But let's talk about why mental toughness right now. Because in 2023, I can recognize that just like grit in me, that I was literally alone. I was essentially homeless, but I was staying in the home of some former neighbors. And at this point, I hadn't talked to any of my family in years and I hadn't, rebuilt those relationships. And so I was completely alone. And I go back to those days and I think, oh my goodness, that Jen is still inside of you. And now some of it is like survival mode. And I don't want to go back to survival mode. But the mental toughness of our life, what I've discovered, and as I'm reading this book, Mental Toughness by Andy Frisella, is that mental toughness is like a muscle. If I go in on leg day and I bust my quads like crazy, I'm going to feel that the next day big time, and even more probably the day after that. But then if I go a couple of weeks and don't do leg day, I have to rebuild the growth that I already did 2 weeks ago. It doesn't stick. Like, I wish it did. I wish it just, like, once you did it, it just stayed and you didn't have to worry about rebuilding. That's not a thing. That's not how it works. And when I think of of mental toughness, I understand that it's the same thing. Once you build it, you have to keep building it. And how do you build it? That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about why mental toughness is even a thing, why it's not like a masculinity versus femininity thing. It's not a gender thing. It's not anything other than it's you versus you. And you looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, are you where you want to be? Are you headed the direction that you want to go? And are you doing it in the way that you want to do it? And so just like in 2023, where I had to recognize that I had huge shifts to make, I'm that way right now, but completely different decisions are being made. This is wisdom that I need for totally different decisions than 2023. So as you grow as a person, know that you don't ever just like become mentally tough and never have to go back and rebuild that muscle. So that's where I am right now. I'm in a rebuild. And here's why I knew that I needed it. So some of you may know I started a coaching group about, I guess it's been a couple months now, beginning of July. And it's specifically for speakers. It's called the Speaker Lab. It's phenomenal. It's absolutely transforming the way that I thought about speaking in the business and all those things. So it's been absolutely what I needed. I needed a coach to get me from where I am to where I want to go. And then as I'm like diving through this program, I'm soaking it all up. I'm doing all the things. When it got to the point where now I have all of the tools to now go and connect with my warm market first, because they're going to give you leads, but they don't give you leads until you can use the program with your warm market. So I'm going and I'm writing names down. I'm doing all this, and I realized that I kind of slowed up on the modules, and I my pace kind of decreased. I had some cool things going on in my life. Like I did a really, really amazing trip to Savannah. I got to speak to a really great group of people, the Georgia Safety Association, and it was phenomenal. Like a really, really cool experience. It was literally like pinch me, like I'm living my dream. Like this is it. It's happening. And yet when I lay my head on the pillow, I'm like, Jen, this is you versus you, and you are sabotaging this. You are literally not taking actions. You are letting fear cause you to wait, and you are delaying, and you're doing all this on the outside, but the inside, you know that you're not showing up and doing all that you need to do. And so for me, a couple of ways and signs that I knew that mental toughness was not being worked was procrastinating. I knew my next step, and I was 1,000% avoiding it. And I wasn't really being honest with myself about why I was avoiding it. But I made all these excuses, or I kept going through other parts of the program and was like, okay, you know what? No, I'm going to see this person in person. I'm not going to call them. I wasn't doing the system. I was renegotiating the system, because ultimately when I looked at myself in the mirror, I'm like, Jen, you are procrastinating. Call it what you want to, Jen, but what you're actually doing is procrastinating. And another thing was I was letting fear make my decisions instead of courage. I was letting fear say, okay, Jen, well, maybe you don't need to call this person because maybe they still see you in this light. And so they're not going to want to refer you to the types of clients that you're being told that you align with, and for the price point that you are being coached to go out and pursue. So I'm doubting the wisdom of my coaches and assuming that I know better, and that the people around me are going to put me in a bucket that's actually not what it's mind games. Like, have you ever done that? You ever played mind games? You ever talked yourself out of something? You ever limited yourself and you realize that no one else limited you? It's literally you limiting yourself. You're self-sabotaging. I know that because I've been doing it. Until then I finally was like, enough is enough. So I'm procrastinating. I'm leading with fear. I'm breaking promises to myself and lowering my own standards. So I went from this morning routine that it's been consistent for years. And then I realized, okay, now I'm not working out every day of the week. I've already cut back then to 5 days a week, which is healthy, fine, no knock on that. I've cut back to 5 days a week. And now actually most weeks, it's really only 3 days a week I'm actually working out. And reading was like a staple in my world. Like I've got to sharpen my mind. I can't teach. I can't lead. I can't innovate if I don't fill up my own mind and my heart and my soul. And I was like, I'm not even consistent. I haven't read a book consistently since the Let Them theory, which I'm pretty sure I finished at the end of January. I've dabbled in some books, I'm listening to podcasts periodically, but I haven't found that book. I haven't looked for that book. I haven't jumped in and kept it as a routine. Well, it's September. At this point last year, I was probably through 12 books. What happened? What happened is I wasn't intentional about the things that I know that I need to prioritize to make me the best version of me. And that happens when you unintentionally don't choose what you need to do. And that happens when you're not intentional. And the other thing is choosing comfort over growth in small daily choices. It was going out to eat, or it was, having a drink or something like that became just more often. I was doing more social things, which there's nothing wrong with social things, but right now my world needs to be building, and I need to be doing what I need to do to rebuild and to build this life that I so want to build of impact. So they're not bad things that I was doing. It's just a bunch of things that aren't moving the pendulum forward. And I'm choosing that over the daily disciplines of getting myself where I need to go. In this program, there's something called the Power Hour that separates whether you're a business builder or you're a hobby builder. What kind of power hour do you have in your own business? That could be outreach. It could be filling your pipeline. It could be making contacts. It could be filling your own bucket, right? It could be working out, listening to podcasts, reading books, filling your mind as a mom, as a dad, as a business owner, as a husband, as a wife, whatever role is important to you, having that power hour of your day that you're actually intentionally creating the life that you want to live. And so for me, I knew what I needed to do. I needed to have a morning routine in place for my personal development, which includes working out, reading, listening to podcasts, prayer, journaling, drinking water, all of those things. And then I have to have a business power hour that moves my pendulum forward every single day. Instead of filling it with things that feel more comfortable, that seem busy, so that I don't actually have to do what I need to do. Ever been there? I don't think I'm probably the only one who's been there. If not, it's fine. Learn from my mistakes, because you may get there one day. So last week, I decided enough was enough. I came off of a trip to Savannah that I was talking about. Great event, amazing event. Literally a room full of people. I only knew one other person in the room. Well, two people, because Gretchen came with me, but only one other person in the room did I know before I got there. And when I was there, I was like, man, I did a whole different keynote. It was something that I'd been wanting to do for corporate and wanted to do for a different audience. My main keynote is called Your Authenticity is Your Competitive Advantage. The whole idea of using your authenticity, it's not this buzzword. It's actually what you can use to connect better with clients, connect better in our office, and build a culture inside and outside that you're actually proud of. So that's like my main talk. Authenticity is absolutely my message. And then going hand in hand is the corporate side of it. It's something that I've established called the kaleidoscope effect, which is leading with empathy, understanding the lens of how we look at our own world, connecting and building bridges to the people around us, and creating cultures that, again, we're actually proud of. So I'm doing this keynote for the first time for this group. And I was really excited about it. Like, I knew that the end goal, but y'all, an hour is a long time. And I get in there and there's time for discussion and all these things. Anyways, long story short, afterwards, there was a lot of amazing feedback, but I couldn't hear the feedback from the noise inside of my head that said, Jen, what the actual heck? Like, you weren't prepared. Like, that wasn't as fluid as you usually do. Like, there was clear, this was not as ingrained in your head as your authenticity one is. And of course, I give myself grace. It's the first time I'd ever done it publicly. But then I started to see, had I been more disciplined with my time beforehand, I would have shown up more prepared, had to look at my notes less, and been able to facilitate more discussion in the way that I want to facilitate discussion. So it was beyond just being my worst critic. It was an actual realization that you're not building this business of excellence that is the standard in which you want to build this business. What are you going to do about it? And what I knew is I needed something. I needed a challenge. I needed something that was just going to push me to my limits, to push this, to grow this muscle to a depth and a level that I've never grown this muscle to before. And I have put off and put aside 75 hard for probably years. I've heard about it. And I've done Full 30. That's like a diet, not really challenge. It's more just to like detox your body from things it doesn't need. And I knew that the discipline that even brought, but in the beginnings of doing that, it didn't give me the energy because of all that I was sucking from my diet. It didn't give me the energy to work out to the extent that I wanted to work out. So I didn't want to do that. And I kept dabbling it. I tried to do my own thing. I tried to like put together some different pieces with intermittent fasting and other things. And every day kind of looked different. I was going to make my own plan that I could stick to. And I'd started that in the spring. And then I quit. And I was talking to a friend last week. And I'm like, man, she had just done this really, really, really amazing challenge. And she's just a tad bit older than me. And I'm watching her and just seeing her just like push herself. And I'm like, girl, when you ever do something like this again, you've got to invite me. Like, I want something, maybe not marathon, but something just like different. And this was like this hiking challenge. I'm like, this is something I could get behind. I love hiking. And she's like, okay, I'll definitely keep you in mind. I said, I want something that I could push my limits and I can remind my mind that I'm capable of doing really hard things. And she's like, Jen, have you ever done 75 hard? And I was like, oh, that's funny. Funny you should say that. I have resisted it for so long. And she started describing times in her life when she had done 75 hard. And it wasn't about the physical transformation. It wasn't about the weight loss. It wasn't about any of the external things. It was about what she experienced, the shift inside, the mental toughness that she developed and the resilience and the clarity that she developed in those times. And I'm like, okay, I'm starting it. I'm going to do this. And so I got my calendar out and I was like, okay, well, when makes the most sense? And so I have a trip scheduled next week with the kids to Nashville, and I had some other things on place. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this for the 75 days leading up to Thanksgiving, because I love Thanksgiving. And I think that's the pinnacle of just like celebration of being so thankful and so full of gratitude of what my mind and body is going to go through for the next 75 days. So I started on Saturday, the 16th, the 13th. I think the 13th is Saturday. Yes. September 13th. And I will conclude November 26th, the day before Thanksgiving. And if you're not familiar with 75 hard, go check it out. There's 75 soft, there's all these things, but here's my challenge to you. All 75 soft says is that you don't think that you're capable of doing something hard that somebody else, thousands of other people have already proven that they can do. Why aren't you capable of it? Why can't you show up for yourself like they showed up for themselves? So I'm like, nope, I'm doing the program as is, completely as written. Boom, boom, boom. There's no soft to it. I'm going to do it to a T. 2 workouts a day, 1 indoor, 1 outdoor, both 45 minutes. And they have to be 3 hours apart. So it's not like go to the gym and go for a 45-minute walk. It's like, no. Make it hard on yourself. So I feel like I'm taking showers all day long, like after my gym workout, after my outdoor workout. And then you're drinking a gallon of water. You're reading 10 pages of a nonfiction book. You're taking a progress picture every single day. You are not having any alcohol, no cheat meals, and you're choosing a diet plan that you want to stick to. So for me, I have a protein goal and I'm not doing any added sugars and any type of fried food. That's my plan. And I'll tell you, the hardest part so far has been the water. I realized how dehydrated my body must have been before all of this, because just even so many different ways I realized. I'm like, I was so sore after working out because I was dehydrated, right? Like now I'm working out even harder and I'm not even sore at all. So it's funny what you realize through all of this. And I'm really excited about the focus and the goal. And as I listened to Andy Frisella in his podcast, like when I started this, he talked about how our mind naturally wants to create these little scapegoats, these little ways to get around it. And the power is when you actually say no, this is the boundary. This is the guardrail. This is what I am and I am not doing. And the more that you do that in your life, the more that you do that with other areas of your life. So when I say I have no added sugar, when I go to someone's house and I'm like, hey, no worries, I can eat my own food, but is there any sugar in this? And she's like, well, actually, there's about 2 tablespoons of peanut butter in this sauce, but by the time it's diluted in this bottle, I'm like, okay, no worries, no, I don't want that sauce. Even though there's such a minute amount of sugar, there's added sugar, because a part of the plan is there's no added sugar. No ifs, ands, or buts, not diluted, not a little bit. Would it affect my health if I ate it? Absolutely not. But that's not the point. This is not a fitness program. This is a mental toughness program. And when you start to negotiate with yourself and you start to allow some exceptions and you start to, okay, maybe this is okay. Okay, maybe, you know what? I finished at 43 minutes. Like that's really okay. No, you're worth showing up for. You're worth making a commitment, staying with your commitment, and not letting anything deviate you from your commitment because you can do hard things. You are worthy of showing up for. My goals are worthy of me showing up for. So if you're negotiating with yourself about why you need to do something and make it a little bit easier on yourself, ask yourself, why? Because how are big, massive, successful businesses built? By consistent action every single day that most people aren't willing to make. And if they can do it, why are we constantly telling ourselves we're the exception to the rule? And in fact, when you start to keep making exceptions to your rules, you look up and you're living a life that's so subpar to where you actually want to be. You know how I know that? Because that's where I am right now. Percent. I have everybody in my corner saying, there's no reason you're not making this. There's no reason you can't. Like, the world is your horizon, Jen. Whatever you want, go and get it because it's all out there. And yet I'm self-sabotaging it. What are you self-sabotaging? But you know what's really amazing? You get to decide right now that you're done self-sabotaging. Maybe it's 75 hard that you need to jump on. Y'all, I'm only on day 4. I'm releasing this. It will be on day 5 when I release this. Usually I record way ahead of time, but I'm like, no, like this is where I'm at right now. I want to talk to my people and tell you where I am. And if you want to join up, come on, let's do it. Tomorrow I'm on day 5. You could be on day 1. We could do this together. Hold each other accountable and know that you're worth it. Know that your goals are worth it. Kids are worth it. Your legacy is worth it. You're worth it. And why toughness matters for your future self is it's not just about discipline. It's about your identity. Because right now, even yesterday, as I sat down with my pipeline and I sat down with everything I need to do for my business, it's amazing the confidence I sat down with. Because I'd already showed myself all day long, I could say no to this. I could say yes to myself for this. I could do hard things. I could drink freaking plain water all day long, even though I didn't want to. I could do 2 workouts. And the workouts for me are the easy part. I enjoy that. Like the water has probably been the hardest part for me. And it may seem silly, but and scheduling the 3 hours apart, right? Figuring out how to fit it in with 4 kids and building a business and doing all my things. But guess what? People have done it with a whole lot more of excuses than I. They can do it. You can do it. Like if someone else has done something, it is proof that you are capable of the exact same thing. There's no scarcity. It's not, oh, they've already done it. No. Then you can. It's proven that you can do it. It's not just about discipline. It's about your identity. Like, who are you? Are you the kind of person who shows up for you? Like, are you the kind of person that people can depend on because you are 1,000% committed? Are you loyal? Are you someone that is not just going to say you're doing something big and then a week later you're going to decide and you're going to quit? I mean, how many of you have started a diet and quit? How many of you started a plan and quit? Like my kids were talking to me. They're like, Mom, what if you mess up? I'm like, well, if I mess up, I have to start from the beginning. They're like, oh my goodness, what if you mess up at day 60? I said, guess what, kids? I'm looking at all 4 of you in the eyes right now. I will not fail the 75 hard. Like I will not fail 75 hard. I am stubborn as all get out when I need to be. And right now I need to be me. I need for myself to be committed and stubborn. So I told my kids, mom's not quitting. Yeah, you're right. If I do, then I'll have to restart it over again. And I don't say that out of pride. I say that out of, I've committed to my kids. You're worth me fighting for. Me building this life that I want you guys to experience completely hinges on my discipline. They're worth it. And if they're worth it, then it's worth it for me to show up. What's your why? Why is it worth it for you to show up every day? Once you know that, then you're just like every day. Like, no, this is going to be uncomfortable, but it's not impossible. Therefore, I will do it because they are worth it. This is worth it. And without it, you end up drifting and letting life just happen to you. One of my favorite quotes is Tony Robbins. Life happens for you, not to you. If you just sit back and live a life out of discipline, it will happen to you. Absolutely. Has life happened to me in a lot of ways? Yes. I went on a fitness journey in 2018 and I, for the most part, kept the weight off until 2024. And for the last 6 months, 9 months, I have put weight on because I didn't intentionally not do that. I enjoyed this, and I went to these dinners, and I went to these networking, and I, hung out. I did all of this, and I assumed I've already been through a fitness journey, therefore it doesn't matter anymore. And then next thing you know, when you're not intentional, what happens? You don't have the same disciplines, and therefore you don't have the same results. So now I'm redoing that. And it's different going through a fitness journey after you've already gone through one. I know I can do it. 1,000% know I can do it. And also, it's really frustrating to know that I have to do this again. But when I'm doing it this time, I'm like, okay, no. Now I know that if I put the foot off the gas and I go into neutral and I let cheat meals become more meals than the good meals, then I'm going to end up in a position where I don't want to be. So I know how to be consistent and I know how to not be consistent. And what I've decided is there's a line drawn in the sand and I'm done being non-consistent and inconsistent, whatever, words. With mental toughness, you're building the version of yourself who can handle the life you want. Do you want a great marriage? Do you want great friendships? Do you want a great parenting relationship? Do you want a great co-parenting relationship if you're divorced like me? Do you want a great business? Do you want an impact? Like, what do you want? Then build yourself to the version of you who can make everything of that happen. Because if God's already given you a passion and calling in your life, He's going to give you the wisdom. You are adding to the temple. You're adding to the vessel that's going to go out and carry out the mission that you have in your life. Faith is a huge part of my world, and faith is not a crutch. Faith is the bigger mission behind of me knowing that I have a greater good that I have been called to go out and do. I believe that you were created on purpose and for a purpose. And when you believe that, then you don't think anybody else can do it. You know that it is your specific calling. That's huge. There's so much weight to that, and there's so much hope in that. That you're not just here on accident. You're not just a mom. You are an impact mom. You are a legacy-leaving mom. You are a mom that's created specifically for those babies. Are you ready to be the best version for them? Are you ready to be the best version for you? I didn't know what kind of mom I was capable of being when I was a stay-at-home mom, frustrated because I felt like my identity was in the amount of laundry that I did. I wasted so much time being secretly unhappy and feeling guilty about it because I was so grateful to stay at home with my kids. And I battled so much that internal battle of, but I feel like there's more. I feel like I'm supposed to take my kids along on this adventure, this big journey of what I'm supposed to have impact, and they're supposed to be a part of that. But I was so small-minded that I thought it was this or that, and now I understand it's this and that. My kids get to see me chase something. Your kids get to see you chase something and go after something because you're willing to bet on yourself and go all in and believe in the life that you want. How do we grow this muscle? First of all, we got to have small daily commitments. What does that look like? It is whether it's, hey, I'm going to read 10 pages. I'm going to do a workout. I'm going to read. I'm going to drink water. I'm going to start a prayer journal. I'm going to do A, B, or C. And here's what you're going to decide. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this consistently. This is a you versus you. This isn't someone else needing to tell you every single day like a teacher, here's what you need to do with your life. No, nobody's checking up on me to see if I do 75 hard. Could I cheat 1,000%? Who do I cheat on? Me. What good does it do to build a mental toughness and type program and then try to negotiate myself around things? It's why I didn't eat the 2 tablespoons diluted of peanut butter in a sauce, because for me, that's not, it's like, no, I don't have to. No, I can do this. I can say no. Daily commitments that challenge your comfort zone. Choosing discomfort on purpose. That's how we stretch this muscle. Just like you think of a rubber band being stretched over and over and over again. It's building this resistance. It's building this resilience. It's building this grit. I love the way Andy Frisell says in his book. It says, it is a weapon that we can build, sharpen, and use to destroy the things in our life that have held us back from fulfilling our own true potential. You and you alone get to choose if you will live a life of wasted talent or of fulfilled potential. You get to decide that. All of it is inside of you. You're either going to tap into it or you're going to die with it inside of you. I don't know about you, but I don't want to die with it inside of me. Because if part of the impact involves other people, then that means you've got to be used for other people. We're choosing discomfort on purpose. It's having those hard conversations. Like for me in 2023, that was a part of the hard things. It was like, I can't move on until I go and I rebuild these relationships that are really, really, really important to me. And I figure out how vulnerability and forgiveness and truth and honesty rebuild these bridges. And I develop a co-parenting relationship that is full of grace and humility for the sake of my 4 children, and how I reestablish relationships, broken relationships with family, because that's what's most important for a life that I want to live. And growing the areas of empathy and forgiveness and restoration and reconciliation and building those bridges back. That's what's most important for me. Stacking small wins to rebuild trust with yourself. Maybe some of you just need to start by turning your alarm on tomorrow morning. I love Mel Robbins' 5-second rule. Turn your alarm on tomorrow morning, and you've decided I need to get up at 5:30 in the morning to be done by 6 o'clock before my kids need to get up to catch a bus. So you have 30 minutes that you're going to start your morning routine. So, or maybe that's 6 a.m. for you. Maybe you're like, I need to get up at 6 because I need to get my kids up at 6:30. I need to get my kids up at 7. Or maybe you don't have kids. You decide what time you need to get up. I have to get up at 5:10. So I get up at 5:10 because I need to have everything done before 6:30. You decide what time you need to get up, and you're deciding that when you are awake and fully cognizant, not when you're tired and exhausted. And then you're going to set your alarm based on that. And then tomorrow morning, when that alarm goes off, let me just say, newsflash, you're not going to want to get up. Maybe the first morning you are, adrenaline's pumping, you want to get up. Day 2 is going to suck. And what you do is you do not hit that snooze button, because that snooze button is your subconscious, which is not stronger than your conscious. When you were consciously aware and made the decision that you know you need to get up right now to get done what you need to get done, you're like, nope, subconscious, you do not win today. The conscious wins, and I'm not pressing snooze. I'm counting to 5, and I'm putting my feet on the floor, and I'm getting up, I'm brushing my teeth, and I refuse to go back to sleep. Because this is more important, because I could do hard things. And you're going to stack small wins to rebuild trust with yourself, that you are stronger than the snooze button. You are stronger than the weakness that you have when you're tired. And it may take 30, 60, 90 days for you to actually start to rebuild that muscle to say, nope, that no longer wins over my life. I know what I need, and I'm going to do what I need to do for myself. And recognizing that there's fear in your world right now. Like, what are you resisting? What are you scared of? Recognize it. And then take the tiny step anyways. So for me, it was this week saying, okay, I'm going to make these connections because I know that's what I need to do. Even with the fear. Not wait for the fear to go away. With the fear, make the action and move forward. My final challenge to you as we wrap up. So where are you letting fear win right now? Like, where are you letting procrastination get the best of you? How are you choosing to let insecurities or weaknesses or doubts or fear to just win? I want you to identify those so that we know what we even where we're trying to just move the pendulum. And what's one area right now that you can write down and say, I can stop negotiating this and I can start moving? Maybe it's working out. Maybe it's waking up. Maybe it's reading books. Maybe it's the diet that you're eating. Maybe it's the amount of alcohol that you're consuming. What is that? There's one area that you know that you are continually negotiating in your life, and you need to stop negotiating so you can move forward towards where you actually want to be. Mental toughness is built one choice at a time, day in and day out, stretching that muscle and building resilience. It doesn't happen overnight, but it also can start being built today. That's the beautiful part of it. It doesn't take 75 days for me to experience change. I already felt a clarity and confidence after day 1 because I've drawn the line in the sand and I'm showing up for myself. I want that for you. And I can't wait to come on here after 75 days and tell you everything that I've learned and all the ways that I've grown and what my life looks like. Let's do it together. Y'all, got to stop acting like we've got these multiple lives that we're living. And I say that all the time because I think it's so important. This isn't the dress rehearsal. Y'all, even just what's going on in our world, so reminded, every day is a gift. And if we can use our voice for good, if we can use our life for good, if we can impact the people around us, let's do it. Why not you? So as I close, I want you to know, I believe in you. I love you. And that may sound so crazy because you may be listening to this podcast for the first time and we've never even met. And that may sound like a lie, but I want you to know, y'all, there are people out there that hate each other for absolutely no reason. They've never even met each other before. And there's so much hate in this world. I refuse to live like that. I will love you for no reason until I meet you and I find the millions of reasons that there are to love you. So let's go out there. Let's build a life that we're proud of. Stop negotiating with yourself. I love you. Let's do this. I'll see y'all next week.